We survived the night, made our way off Bowman Island. Today I put my coffee packet, mixed it in with my oats, which was actually pretty tasty. Gave me a nice little kick too, instead of drinking the coffee. But on the day we have about 17.3 miles, 0.4 miles. Obviously a lot less than yesterday, which is nice, which is why I pushed, you know. It was dry and I wanted to push, get those miles out the way, but damn, I paid for it. The main priority today is not only to get to camp, but we need to dry out everything that got wet last night. Other than that, beautiful day out, beautiful morning, especially after last night. Man, that was thundering and raining for, God, probably for at least half of the night. So if you're planning on stopping at Bowman for the night, the Bowman Island, it's actually a pretty solid campsite. Plenty of room for a couple of tents, flat, soft ground, and the only downside is the bugs. The bugs were relentless. I almost considered just kind of camping right there at the entrance to Bowman. There was nice flat ground, there's benches, there was bag hangs. I almost considered doing that. I definitely wouldn't have stopped there unless I had to camp there. Dry absolutely everywhere, even out in the prairie lands. Which is why I've been carrying so much damn water. Like any chance I get to fill up, I do, and then I just carry it, because I don't know. I mean, Far Out's been pretty accurate, all the comments there with where to fill up. So I can kind of estimate, but still, just because it's so damn dry, I end up carrying probably more water than I need to. I know you got to stay hydrated out here, because I remember from Big Cypress, I didn't fill up enough where I should have, and you definitely feel dehydrated out there. And finally, hit some water. You know, I think this is just an accumulation from last night's rainstorm, but I've been hitting these patches for the past 500 feet or so. So, you know, you just kind of pick your spots, and then I see a few more up this way. I knew it would be inevitable to get your feet wet on this trail. I was actually expecting, well, I knew it was dry. I didn't realize it was this dry. Yep, we in it, no avoiding it now. I went about 25 plus miles with it being dry. So up until this point, I haven't had to deal with any water. Sometimes on these double tracks, the middle is actually the higher, drier ground, right? Because the wheels make more of a indentation on either side. So a couple weekends before doing this trail, I did Big Cypress. You know, the southern portion from Oasis to I-75. And one can't help but make comparisons to this trail. So before embarking on this journey, I thought this would be similar, at least the water portions I thought would be similar to the Big Cypress, where it's that sticky, sucky mud that just grabs onto your foot and won't let go. It's that silty slipperiness where you actually need trekking poles to navigate. This is not the case. Walking through the water sections of the ocean to lake, for the most part, quite enjoyable. It's not slippery, it's not that sucky mud, but so far it really hasn't been as bad. I really haven't needed my trekking poles or anything to help keep my balance. So far, oceans to lake is a lot easier than what I encountered in Big Cypress. And again, you know, I'm doing this during dry season, so I guess it would be obviously a lot worse during wet season to go through this. Really haven't had to look at the Far Out app or my compass, or my GPS for the majority of this trip, which has been nice. There's been blazes every 20 feet, I'd say. So the FTA did a great job marking this trail. But you could take this white route, this white path, to kind of bypass the pond, or you can go straight through it like I am going to. I think we're coming up to some campsite, right? Big marsh. I might check this out real quick to see if it's dry enough to dry out my tent. Yeah, we might take this opportunity to rest real quick, dry out my shit, because look at all the sun right here. This will dry my tent and everything really fast. Actually, this is a great spot. Damn, that's too bad I couldn't make it here. A lot of room, very easy tent setup. Everything got pretty much wet. The tent was the most soaked, obviously. Sleeping bag wasn't too bad. It was just mostly the foot box got a little wet from like rain splashing up or something, because it got heavy at some points. Clothes are out just in case, because I had to put everything on top. The way I arranged it in my pack, the clothes were gonna get wet regardless. And then got the rain fly, the fly net, and then got the rain jacket out here. All this stuff drying up fairly quick. So give it about 10 minutes aside and then flip it. And then I'll be back on my way. Got everything packed up, just doing a quick zigzag scan here, making sure I didn't forget anything. We got about 12 miles left. There's a few other stops I want to make along the way. Like at this ranger station, maybe fill up there. I know I gotta fill up more, maybe at this pond up here. Always a rush against time. I don't want to be rushing to set up my tent, because I want to make sure I set it up properly this time in case it happens to rain again. So this section is what is called, quote unquote, the pond. See that orange blaze way back there? You kind of just follow this river. I guess this was all flooded at some point. It's been so dry it's not anymore, but it is pretty wet. And in the middle here, it gets pretty sinky, pretty deep mud. So you kind of want to traverse along the edges here where this high grass is if you can, to avoid sinking into that mud. I did scoop some water here just in case I can't find any up ahead in the short future. I did it again. I blew right by this blaze and I started going down this track here. And really, you gotta bang a quick left here. Oh boy, I gotta start keeping my head up. So when you get to this point, you will continue to the Ocean to Lake Trail to the right, which brings you out onto the road. If you go left, it brings you to the youth camp. I know the FTA, the Florida Trail Association, does an event every year in September, and the youth camp is a halfway point rest stop. I think there's facilities there, showers, water. That's the other thing. We're about halfway done with this trail. A little over 30 miles in, I think. If you want to join that trek every year, the FTA puts on a group hike for this entire length of the trail. I think they do it in about 5 or 6 days, and that is one of the stops, the youth camp. If you're interested in doing that, check them out. It's the Loxahatchee's chapter. They do some cool stuff up here. Missed it this year. I didn't get a chance to sign up in time. I was out of the country, so otherwise I probably would have done it, because this would be a fun trail to do with a group. Although it is fun to do it solo too. Very nice, very relaxing, very tranquil. I pretty much have this trail to myself. But yeah, this area looks beautiful. I heard you can fill up with water, just hang out, maybe charge. So we'll see what we can accomplish here if someone's here to help us out. Just left that hunting check-in station at Corbett, that little cabin I showed you guys. The person in charge there is Al. He was very gracious, very willing to help out hikers. There was another guy another hiker that stopped in there as well. Hung out there for a bit, probably a little bit longer than I should have. But at that station, there is drinkable water from a hose. So you can fill up your water bottles there. There's also charging outlets, multiple around the premises, so you can charge up all of your electronics. And there's also a dumpster as well, so you can dispose of your trash. I definitely recommend hanging out there for a little bit before you continue on. And now we just got a little bit of a road walk until we go back into the woods. coming up to a highway where there'll be a little bit of a highway walk for the next 0.9. So we go over this railroad and then we walk along the shoulder of this highway. Now, this is probably where you got to be mindful of where you step because of all the debris, usually on the shoulder or the grass next to the shoulder. People fishing around there, so it could be fish hooks. We made it. And now I got to get across over there. That's where I go back into the woods. Oh, I think I can make it. It is so nice to be off that highway. And I'm also extremely glad I filled up with water where I did at that ranger station because it has been absolutely dry since I left there. We are currently in the Corbett Wildlife Management or Wildlife Reserve area. Again, the trail is very well maintained in this section as well. Ooh, dry. Wow. So this is officially my first, well, I guess technically second, but my first multi-night, multi-day backpacking, solo backpacking trip. You know, I've done overnights here and there. I've done supported mountain summits, multi-nights, but I've never done like a self-supported solo journey on my own that's more than one night. And so far I'm loving it, actually. You know, despite some of the hardships this past day and night with the rain and, you know, how my knees and feet are acting up here. But I'm getting through it. You know, I have a whole new respect for our nomadic ancestors and how they were able to traverse the unknown, explore the unknown without a map, without these blazes to follow. And they also had to kill their food and probably build their own shelter. Like, this is a lot of work, man. It's just hard walking, you know, along this path for multiple miles, let alone having to try to kill your own food and then cook it and eat it yourself, prepare it. Being an explorer, full-time job. This grass to the left and right of me is about as tall as I am. I'm about 5'11", 5'10"-ish. There she is. Take a quick rest at the bottom here, see if I can make my way up. That was a lot of steps, a lot more than it looked like. I made it to the top, and what a view. Look at that, totally worth it. You could do a little cowboy camp up here. Alright, that was a beautiful view, great little stop, but we gotta move on if we want to make it to camp with a little bit of sunlight left. So far, I really like this stretch of trail through Corbett. This is my first time in this wildlife area, and it's very nice, very scenic. I've been cruising on this section. Easy corner, we got a little bench here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. And I believe we just whip around this way. Take a little load off here. Gather my thoughts. See where I'm at. Continue. On the boardwalk, boardwalk. Dry. All the boardwalks have been dry today so far. Got some brand new boards here. Usually there's water like this high, which is about, you know, a foot and a half. It's amazing there's nothing here. We got a nice little bench here to overlook the prairie. Beautiful. So finally, there's water underneath a boardwalk I've actually walked on. And this water actually looks pretty clear. I might fill up here actually instead of waiting for that canal. This looks clean. The grass kind of acts as like a natural filtration system. Actually, that might be the clearest all day. So we crossed right over this bridge. Wish camp was just set up for me when I got there, so all I had to do was just sit, relax, and eat. But no, the fun just gets started once you arrive to camp. Let's see what this looks like. Gosh, these campsites are always so far back. This looks nice. Got benches. Where to set up though? Got the tent set up. This is what it's supposed to look like. There's no fly net showing underneath. Yesterday I didn't have any light, so I didn't see what I was doing. So I think we're good to go for tonight.
Got the red light on inside the tent so you can see me. Another long day. Got here in the barely with enough daylight left. I think I got a little bit of poison ivy on my leg, on the back of my leg, so that's not bad. I've had it before. 13.8 miles tomorrow, and then from Scrub J, I believe it's only 7 miles on Friday, so 2 easier upcoming days. I'm already 2/3 of the way done with the ocean to lake, so total, up until now, a total of 42 miles. That's about it. Want to do a proper sign-off tonight, since last night was just a mess with the rain. I am exhausted, and got to get up and get after it again tomorrow. See you guys in the AM.